And what you just heard there was a little sneak peek into some music that I found that I want to use for a future episode for Vampires. I want to use this soundtrack for a future one, for a future moment when I'm able to, because I found it the other day, and there hasn't been a point yet where I want to use that soundtrack, but I think it will go so well of what I have. But hello, chat. It's been a week. Hope you all are well. Hope you all have had a wonderful week doing stuff. We are here, back to back to stream as always. Back to here from the title, you'll be knowing we are going to be talking about episode 2 of Vampires. Just going over some fun little things, little behind the scenes stuff that you might not realize, and afterwards answering any questions that y'all have, and just playing Minecraft. So first off, what'd you all think of episode 2? Hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all loved my character slowly going insane. It's been super fun. I lost my sanity. I did too. I also lost my sanity. It was amazing. Loved it. It was so fun. I'm glad. I'm super happy. I'm super happy. But yeah, episode 2 kind of crazy, because basically spoilers for episode 2. Just a heads up from my POV. It went, as I've said before, none of it's scripted. None of it's scripted whatsoever. The night before, yeah. None of it's scripted. So everything that happens is entirely not planned, and you have to go with the flow, right? It's depending on what players find, what actions players do, which I think is great. I think it's one of the amazing things about like this SMP and the live series is like all the moments that happen are entirely organic. It's not like, okay, we're gonna do this and there'll be this book here that you have to go get, then we're gonna have this conversation afterwards. It's no, it's entirely just at the right place at the right time. And it's crazy, right? So we'll get to all of that, but I do want to just showcase the intro because I am very happy and I love this little intro that I got going on. By the way, chat, can y'all hear stream? Like, I'm guessing you guys can, but like y'all can hear the music and everything else with it, right? Like, there's no additional issues here or there. The only reason why I ask, is because I've realized, I don't know what happened, but OBS decided to like double layer itself. So like at a certain point during Cowboy SMP, I didn't realize this, but my VODs on Twitch were like echoing and like overlapping my voice, which it didn't do that before. So after last week, I went back through, and like it doesn't affect the YouTube videos because I can just take out the stream audio. So I don't know how this VOD's going to sound, fair warning. So hopefully everything just works fine in the VOD, and it's not just only you hear this during stream. But like the YouTube stuff is fine because the YouTube I can personally fix the audio myself. It's not difficult. It's taking it's taking all the audio tracks and it's putting it into one. You want, yeah. I'm gonna check after this, just to be sure. Like I can also just check once the VOD goes live because I'll be able to hear it. Actually, I don't know, like if I'm live right now and it shows the VOD in like videos, can someone listen to it real quick maybe? Just to be sure. Like I'm not just checked and it's heard. What do you mean and it's heard? Like the echo or it sounds normal? Okay, so it sounds normal in that VOD. Okay. So it sounds normal right now, which is good. We'll just have to make sure after it's done. But anyways, though, we can worry about that later. Right now, we're talking about Vampires episode 2, all of it, and uh, going into a little bit of like behind the scenes stuff as well. That some things that y'all didn't see from my POV, right? Um, so first off, the intro of this. I love this intro. I've had this idea for an intro or a variation of this intro. There's another intro I want to do something similar to this in this sense. But since y'all are on stream, you guys get a little bit more behind the scenes information about my character, right? These little like nightmares, slash dreams, visions, whatever you want to call them, right? Um, they are tied to his past. So like, it's funny because at the start of the series, I was like, "Oh, with that quote, it's gonna be like angry boy," but now he just seems like, yeah, no, he's traumatized and needs head pats. Yeah, um, I don't know. It depends on how that goes. He might snap. It might become like full anger. We don't really know. But these little like visions, imagery, it's ways to showcase my character's past without just straight up saying it, right? So this is tied, which I didn't necessarily say it before. I said it on stream when I explained some stuff. Well, no, actually, no, I did say it in episode 1. Or no, I said what this is tied to in episode 1. Hold on. Let me just real quickly. You'll be able to hear this. Oh, wait, y'all can't hear this right now. Hold on. I have audio muted. Wait, y'all were able to hear. Hold on. If I have browser source muted, y'all could hear this still? Interesting, because I accidentally had my wavelength muted on the browser side of stuff, and y'all could still hear that. Hold on, I'm gonna do something else real quick. I'm gonna do this. Can y'all hear that? Okay. Yeah? Y'all can. Okay, so for some reason, then, I don't know why the audio is doing this. Y'all are just hearing it straight from OBS, and you're not hearing it from the separated channel. Because before I was now able to, I was orphanage to church. Is that yeah? So this is the church that runs the orphanage. So that's something I have to fix with OBS. Is I have to figure out why my OBS is not separating the audio, and you're able to hear it, not separate from wavelength. Don't know why it's doing that, but it is. Yeah, this is basically from like the previous one. This is the church that runs the orphanage when I was a child, and that's basically why you hear at the very beginning children running is to tie the orphanage with the church. Now, it's not me within that crowd of children running, but it's just to tie it in there. Yeah, we'll let this run real quick. Yeah, no, uh I pulled this build off of a Planet Minecraft download. Yeah. Like the link's right there to the credit of who the builder is. I didn't know it was the Cologne church though. I love the audio design carries this so well. And then cut with a crescendo towards the end. But yeah, I didn't know that was. I just typed in Gothic church or Gothic cathedral, and that's what popped up on Planet Minecraft. So is that from the orphanage? No, that's just part of the bridge. Nope, that's something else. It's not actually anywhere visually, but it's a metaphor. Yeah, sound. There's a lot of sound design in this, which I'm very happy with. Um, but yeah, so it's just a metaphor of the mine from Cowboy. I can't, no, so it's not the mine from it's not the mine from Cowboy. It's nothing like that. It's still tied to this character. It's still tied to this guy. He's German. No. European esque, yes, but not just German. Um but that little visual, the little like where is it? This? This is just a um metaphor slash like visual. Something entirely different. But that's why it flashes back and forth. Yep. But anyways, we continue on. We get our lovely. Actually, I'm gonna have some lo-fi playing in the background. I'll explain this now. One moment, chat. Yeah, it's weird though that like it's coming from both channels, right? But you're hearing it, yeah, loud lo-fi. It's because it's like you're hearing it from OBS. You're not hearing it from the audio. You're not hearing it from Wavelink itself. How strange. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what I did. Weird tech today. Yeah, I'll probably afterwards do a little like tech test stream. Like just a temporary tech test to see if I can get things fixed by the end, like at the end of this stream. And then I'll just cut it out at the end of like the YouTube VOD, but it'll just be there for whatever. It's honestly fascinating how well they built it. Oh yeah, no, it's an incredible build. But yeah, so anyways though, right? So we go into here. I'm uh love the little like idea. So I cut out a lot of me building. We then skip to the mines. We then have this moment right here, and then we get into the nice little bit of um like house tour, house judging, right? And what's very funny about this is when this happened, when all the bats happened, right? So here's the thing, right? I'm in replay mode, or I'm not in replay, I'm in flashback. So that means because I'm in third person, I can fly around. Can you turn it down by like actually 10? Yeah, I can turn it down more. There you go. Yeah, so basically, because I'm in replay mod, um, I can see who turned into a bunch of bats. And this is where you don't metagame and you don't be like, next episode, I know it was you because of X, Y, and Z, because that's just not fair, right? Because in this shot entirely, and I did this intentionally, if it wants to play or not. Love when a thing wants to be dumb. Where is it? Yeah, here. So, like, at this moment... Oh, and I did it again. Cool. Hold on. Okay. So, like, we have this little confrontation. Whatever. Little, like, questioning Avid for, again, the insanity. And this is why I'm still in first person and I didn't just like do a wide screenshot, is because all of a sudden the bats appear and you kind of instantly know who is who, right? And so I know who the person is that did this. I'm not going to say just because, right? But then we go through here, we have a bit more confrontation, and then I then cut out the rest of this because, like, genuinely, it's like all of this wasn't needed for my POV of everyone looking at everyone's house. So I just cut to, like, I thought they were done already. So, like, at this point in time, like, I'm like done with my build. I then cut to me smelting iron or silver. I then open my door and they're just there. I wasn't expecting them to be there. I thought like it genuinely finished and it was just done. So now I had this conversation and I left it in there because I'm like, at this point it adds a bit more to the video. It adds a bit more depth to the characters. So I'll leave it as is. Right. But then we get a little bit of judging. And then they talk about leaving. And then Owen's like, all right, going to go leave. Martin has like little spell ability, which is holy word. And so on and so forth. Right. But because of that, there's a little bit more conversation, a little bit of stuff happening, and then I cut to a different part. And then we all go leave. And like I'm behind like Lagundo here. Sauce is like no doctors, whatever. I then go, and then I realize I am so far behind everybody here. And with there already being like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or like 9 people here, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna go out there. And so I genuinely, for my POV, was just gonna stay here and then just start mining again. That was my original plan. And then I ran into Pyro. And so I told Pyro, yeah, like 9 of them went out there. And then Pyro was like, well, we can't be the other 2 of the 9 that stay here. Let's go. And I'm like, I guess I'm going out in the dark. which made it really, really good. I'll also say this. I haven't seen anyone's POV, right? I have my suspicion of 4 people so far by the end of episode 2. Um yeah, I got my suspicion of 4 people. And I can explain my reasoning why from this episode alone. Okay? Because of Avid, right? No, not because of Avid. Because of my own, like outside of my character, I have 4 suspicions of who they are. Like Avid confirms some of them, like in character wise, but I also just have a weird hunch on 4 other people. But again, if you were in Owen's chat, like we said, just because we have a hunch on people out of character, we're not going to basically banish them and not like interact with them because it doesn't make for a good story. All right. So, anyways, me and Pyro go here. We have a conversation, talk about stuff, talk about the craziness, talk about Avid, talk about vampires, and then we get back. All is calm, and then I find one of the tomes turn undead. Human until proven undead, basically, or give us like a justifiable reason. Oh yeah, no, I entirely just pulled up Discord. Yeah, that cathedral is like 1-to-1 of the one that uh was in the intro video. But anyways, I then find this book. Um and we knew about the tomes. We don't know what all the tomes are besides like a few of them. And so this started to become a point of like, wait, why is there a book in here? And so that's when the tempo changes. I then run out of like my little mind instead of go mining. I then find it, I then read it, and then you get this nice little visual of me reading the book. Hold on, let me just reading the book and then aka right clicking the book to gain its powers, but I say reading instead just for thematic purposes. And then it's a little cutscene, knowledge goes into me, and then I have the ability, right? And then we just do a nice little time passage of day, which I loved a lot. This was super nice and super such a fun way of going that. I then go out, explore myself. I go into a tomb. In that book then allowed me to like sort of introduce finding the other books. Holy Word. And this one specifically mentioning vampires, which even if it meant paralyzing all vampires or creatures of the night, whatever, I'm glad it honestly said vampires. Like, me personally, I'm glad it said that. Specifically because we're in episode 2, and if we're still constantly in this game of unknown, like, confusion, it adds a bit more world building of, like, telling people, hey, there are these things here. People aren't just going to automatically believe it. And so it gave me this fun little crash out moment. Because I got to do this fun little cinematic of me, like, reading this book, fully reading what it says, mentioning vampires, and then doing this great pan out while the world's spinning around me as I'm running out of the tomb. And then as soon as I say no one more time, I basically, like, focus myself back in. As everything shifts around me, because everything doesn't make sense now at this point. Had me sobbing. Yeah, and then I'm like, I think Avid actually is right. Like, because I'll say this now. Vampire Abolish has never been like straight up no. Because of his past, he has an open mind of being like, this could be a thing. I don't think it is logically, but it still could be. Like, there's not a 0% chance it's not. Right. So we then go here. I fully accidentally found this. Like, I was fully ready to run back into town, but then I found this. Vampire Boss Human, yeah. And I actually stumbled across this, made a good little like ominous thing, and then I find another tomb that is or crypt right across from the other like tomb. And so I'm still more confused. I then find another book, Shoulder Barge, get back in. I then left this in here as an audience thing. This little like information down in the bottom left, I left it in here for the reason to tell the viewers, both in character and out of character, hey, we can only use one tomb a day. Like, we can only gain the powers of one tomb each recording session. So just because I have these books doesn't mean it's per game day, it's per session. So humans can't just get overpowered by getting all these powers all of a sudden. We can find them, and depending on how long the series go, we can slowly build up these powers. But it's like you have to keep in mind which ones do you want to use and which ones do you want to keep and hold on to or give to others. Right. And so that's why I'm like, I'll keep these on me for now. And then I find Apo, because the whole conversation before this of Apo, Martin, and Sausage, and that whole group being basically mentioned in the book, I then confront Apo again, being like, hey, I found this book, this is what you were talking about. Which then led to this very, like, great cinematic, stop the Van Helsing basically, great little cinematic of, like, a conversation between me and her on, like, this is crazy. Like, this has to be true. And the reason why I titled this episode as like I'm going insane is because I found this book that mentions vampires. All this crazy stuff has been happening, right? And the 3 people I've talked to have given me a different answer for why. Avid said don't worry, not Avid. Apo said don't worry about it and don't worry about digging into like the dark arts and the dark, like, creatures of the night type of stuff. Like, don't worry about it. Avid, after this, goes, yes, this makes sense. This is what it is, and this is who I think are vampires. And then Lagundo, who is in a character who's very scientifically minded, goes, I don't, like, this is crazy. Vampires aren't real. No. So I've gotten a don't worry, a yes, and a no. While my character has this book that mentions vampires, with also being able to gain powers from it. Right, so we have that. We then continue on. I then catch Scott. It's so funny. If I had a nickel for every time I have wandered on to somebody in an SMP who is sneaking and spying on somebody else, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's crazy it's happened twice in the same manner. Because it first happened with Pyro, and I did the same thing I did with Pyro to Scott. They were snooping around, eavesdropping, and spying, and so instead of calling them out on it, I just joined in on the eavesdropping. And Scott didn't realize I was there. And so I just barely heard what they were talking about. And so it's just Scott realizing I'm there, he's there, we both hear what they're talking about, and I pretend this is crazy. And Scott like, yeah, this is crazy. And so we leave. Yeah, just a hey buddy, you hanging out? Of joining the eavesdrop. No, because there's a reason why I do this. And it's in the sense, it's not to ruin their content, but also to give myself content. It's because it's so they don't get called out. for me calling them out, but it also gives my POV of this is weird. Why was Scott just eavesdropping on them? And I don't question him about it, because I don't want Scott to feel like I am suspicious, like, of him or anything in that regards, because, like, realistically, I'm not. But it also is concerning. So then after that, I then have a little brief conversation with them. We find the silver. Send me a screenshot of your character sneaking around the corner, and it was just his text of who invited this guy here. Yeah, no, basically, yeah. Um, and then we find that someone has broken the silver from underground. And so this is a meta game. Randomly appearing in chest and zombies has more things to worry about than someone being nosy. No, exactly. And then I have this conversation with Avid, right? And Avid, I ask about silver blocks just to give me a reasoning, again, a valid reason to why I start placing silver in my home is because Avid explains roughly what silver does. I'm not just going to start holding silver onto me for no reason if I quote unquote don't fully believe in vampires, then why would I hold silver onto me? Avid telling me that silver has the ability to have like weakness to vampires now gives me a reason to craft silver blocks and keep them in my pocket and to have them on me if I'm ever in a situation where I am possibly attacked by a vampire. It gives both a metagame purpose and an actual lore canon reason to where I can do these things outside of my character, right? And then we have this conversation. I then show Avid the book, giving Avid more justification to his character. Avid then has a suspicion on different people, different players, which some of them were confirmed. He mentions Scott, but Avid's been sus of Scott the entire time. I then tell Avid that I saw Scott snooping around, which is weird, but also could have just been Scott snooping around. And then we have that brief conversation. We then go into this conversation here. I skipped a bit of it because it was talking about gearing up, getting stuff, feeling weird, going into the mines, getting more silver. I then have this whole dialogue with Lagundo. We then see all beacons sanctified, and then I asked Lagundo, so how do you explain science to that, which I think is super funny. I think that, like, this is both, I kid you not, like, in person, like, this is Lagundo's character and also just Lagundo as a person. Basically being like, just going, I'm tired of polish. Is like Lex just being like, okay, I get it. There's weird things happening. You need to stop trying to make me explain everything scientifically. You can't hear the video? Why can't you hear? So we just had no. Why do you not have sound for that all of a sudden? Oh, it's because there's nothing through OBS. Yeah, it's a weird tech day. I'm gonna have to do things during stream so y'all can hear this afterwards. But basically, I go to Lagundo. Do you want to explain this scientifically? Legs then goes, I'm tired, abolish, because I was been trying to ask Legs in the mines constantly. Explain this. How do you explain that? How can you explain banishing things if you finding a book about banishing stuff? Right. So all of this, and Lex just goes, "I'm tired," abolished, which both in character is a valid like thing, but then also I just feel like it's Lagundo being like, "I get your point. You don't need to keep hounding me for it," which is so funny, which is great. But then we continue on. We keep going. A bit more conversation. And then as we're going here, there's also a thing that I cut out of like another beacon then gets like removed. It feels like a kid keeps asking parents random stuff nonstop. That's basically what it is almost. Because in like the abolishes view, right? The only adults he's had in his life to fully explain things are the maids, the butlers, and the Manor Lord, which I mentioned. No one's caught on to it, but I mentioned the Manor Lord's name in this video. I mentioned it. I say the Manor Lord's first name in this video. It was subtle, but I mentioned it when I put on the armor. When I make the chest plate for the first time, yeah, like that's like I'm dropping lore just subtly. I'm not going to be basically being like, oh, the Manor Lord's name was XYZ. It's like the conversation I had to myself was, as Morcant always told me, always make sure you have protective gear before you go somewhere dangerous. No, his name's Morcant. 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 Yeah, no, I mentioned it there. Morcant. Morcant. Yep. That's what that was. Yeah, as Morcant always told me. That's his name. That's the Manor Lord's first name. I have his surname, but I'm not going to say his surname unless I get like unless there's a valid reasoning for it. Well, it's the same thing with my parents. Like, if there's ever a point where I'm able to like say their names, and or I meant the butler. Nope. If I'm able to say their names and like their surnames, and same with the Manor Lord's surname, I will. It's just there needs to be a reasoning to it. I just can't say it for no reason. But anyways, we go down here, we talk, we then get back out, and then we meet up back with this group. And so in my head, okay, here's the thing, right? There are 6 of us here, right? Right. I play this game in my head like it's Among Us. Because it basically is. Right. So I know that at this moment in time, it is not Cleo, Pearl, Drift, Avid, me, or Lagundo. Right? I know it's not us 6 because we had a conversation, or I didn't fully show up, but I had a conversation with Pearl and Cleo, showing them where the in-town mine is after about the silver block. And I know those two wouldn't just break the silver block and then say they weren't the ones that did it, especially if they weren't vampires. So I know those two aren't. I know it's not Avid and Drift, because Avid's been paranoid of vampires the entire time. Drift has been with Avid the entire time, and they've both been in the mines. Because we had the conversation before of us going in there. I know it's not Legs, because Legs has been with me the entire time. And this is about the beacons, about the castle beacon being like removed of its divine protection, right? I then also know it's not Martin or Sausage, because in this conversation, Cleo mentions how they were already here and they said they had to go once the castle beacon got removed of its protection. I then can also clear Apo because of that, because Apo's been with Martin and Sausage throughout this entire episode, so I can kind of clear Apo with them, right? So that just leaves Ren, Scott, Owen, Pyro, Shovel. Those 5. Right? So we go through this conversation. And then this, I wish I can. Hold on, I can show y'all it through a different way. Hold on, because I'm pulling it from my browser. If I pull it off my browser instead of the video itself, yeah, y'all can hear that, but you can't hear the other one. Okay. One moment. All right, so display. Y'all see this? Yeah, y'all hear this. All right, so again, so there's this little moment right here where Cleo says, sorry, but yeah, basically that. So Cleo then basically clears Martin and a Sausage, and I assume also Appo, because Appo's been with them the entire time for this episode. So I can clear them off. And then Drifton says, "Where's Shelby? Where's Shovel at?" And then here comes right. So Shovel says it's Scott, Owen, Pyro, herself, and then Martin, Sausage, Appo. There's no Ren in this. I think Ren was on his own the entire time, which kind of makes sense because Ren was building his house, right? Ren was building his house. And so that leaves down to 4 people. Owen, Scott, Shovel, Pyro. Are the 4 I believe that are vampires right now. And again, this is from a out of character explanation. This is not in character. This is out of character of me explaining certain things, right? We then continue on, and then it goes like this conversation is with us 3, and then we get to here towards the ending of this one. So here's another metagame thing that I did. I put silver in my house. I put 1 here. I put 1 there. And I put 1 there. It's all in the open, and it's also in places that aren't underground, which means people can't dig holes underneath it and mine to it. They have to be in the open to break it. And those things are a pain to break. They take a long time to break. So that's why I placed it everywhere in open spots in my house that also aren't like as annoying to deal with. Yeah. After I saw that one, the one that got replaced with dirt, I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm placing it here. I'm gonna place it here. But afterwards, there's this moment. Yeah, so fun fact, right? About this moment here. I learned about this later. I didn't know this at the time. I only saw this. I didn't realize there was chat that says a vampire is broken through the holy defenses. I didn't clock that it said vampire here. All I saw was this, and all of us I think all saw this, and none of us really made the comment out loud that like vampires no, I didn't. I didn't. I fully also uh syndicate syndical, if I believe that's how you say it correctly. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Sorry if I butcher your name. I didn't realize that. All I saw was this. And most of us, no one said it out loud. We only saw. See, like, what does that mean? Like, none of us knew what it fully meant because none of us like realized in the bottom left what it said. At least from this group. Anyways, I don't know if anyone else did, but like, none of us here knew. And read everything. Yeah, which is fair. Which is fair. Just in character, we didn't. Also, Lemon Sale, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. So here's the thing, right? We get to this part, and afterwards of with this, so I'm gonna explain after this little like dialogue, because Ren did this speech like right before the end, and it was such a good ending moment that I basically just gave Ren the ability to aura farm with the angle shots that I was giving him with Ren's speech and the music in the background. Like this speech with the angles that I was giving Ren, like this right here is just so like such a good cinematic shot of like a down pan up style. Yeah, the onwards and then fading out to like instant cut to black with a slight echo makes the shot so good. It's funny because I cut out something else afterwards. Because after he does that turn and looks, there's a pause, and he looks back over to Owen and asks like, where? He asked like, "Where's the break of dawn?" Which it's a good comedic moment, but I removed it from mine because it just makes it so like it gives so much more power to Ren's speech that I removed it. So another fun thing before I give my reasoning to why I think who's who out of character are the vampires, right? So I saw on Twitter, I think it was Silverbee, brought up the question, why was I missing my earring after I read the book? It's because I was dumb. And I will explain why. What's wrong with this third person shot? What is wrong with this third person shot? The skin. It's my normal Minecraft skin. So here's a behind the scenes thing. Luckily, so here's the benefit. Luckily, my normal skin looks very similar to my Vampire SMP skin. Right? It looks very, very similar. Like, it's just the suit, like, the texturing is slightly different, the hair is slightly here, the vest is different, and I have gloves on. Like, that's entirely the, like, contrasting of it. But you can't really tell when it goes fast enough. Get dunked on in the hashtag now? No, it's fine. Because here's the thing. I'm just going to say he just took off his earring and his gloves for a day. That's all I'm going to claim it as. He just wasn't wearing his gloves, and he had his earring off for the day. I just didn't feel it that day. So here's the thing, right? Flashback took off the extras, exactly. So here's the thing. Flashback shows everyone else's skin but yours in third person. And the reason why is because we have it, or I shouldn't say we, POW has it coded to where we don't have to have our actual skins installed on our Minecraft accounts. So y'all don't get any spoilers if someone's been turned or not, with different skins being added to our like player models and like our name MC stuff. So y'all can't go snooping around trying to see if anyone's been turned early or not. It's the server that does it. But because it's the server that does it, Flashback takes your base player skin and uses that as the reference originally. It doesn't do it for anybody else's. So like this shot with Apo still has her actual skin on. I don't have to worry about that. It's just every new replay or every new recording that I do, I have to right click on my player, and then I have to just upload the skin, and it replaces my skin for the entire recording. I just forgot to do it for the second half when I was editing. That's why. And I didn't realize it because my skin looks so similar that I only look at the top half of my face, like only at my player head when I'm editing. I don't look at my clothes. I didn't realize my gloves were on. And since the earring's only on the left side of my player model, yeah, no one noticed. So I'm just going to say it, and I'm saying this canonically. This is canon. He just took off his earring, and he just took off his gloves. You noticed. No, that's fine. Y'all can notice, but I'm just going to say, if it's been noticed, he just took off his gloves, he rolled up his sleeves, he took off his earring, and he went to go do some other stuff, and he was in a bit more of a comfortable attire for the day. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, but if it does, that's all that means. That's all that means. I just have to remind myself for the future to not like forget to right click on my player model and then import skin. That's all. So I'm not gonna make a statement on Twitter about it. I'm not going to like put it in the comments about it being an accident. If someone like asks the question, they can ask the question. But like that's the reasoning. It's just so it was a glitch in the editing. Yes, it's not a glitch. It's intentional. Flashback, because of how the servers ran, we don't have to put our actual Vampire SMP skins on. The skins just get automatically applied to us. That way y'all don't snoop around and get spoilers of who's been a vampire already. To the bot, yeah. It was an oopsie retcon that. Basically, yeah. And so I'm just making it canonically that he just decided to wear different change of clothes for the future. That's all. Because literally, this shot right here compared to like, let me see, where's a third person shot of me at the beginning? Like, you look at that, you would have think that's the same skin. It's just that my hair's slightly pushed back more to fit more of the wolf cut design. You couldn't tell from this angle. You can't tell from any of the angles third person fully, because it looks like my normal skin. It's just slightly different texture. Your normal skin's very no. It's extremely similar, and yes, and that's why like this you couldn't tell. You can't tell from the backside of this. It's just a more dull shading shading of it, and even here, like this you can't even tell unless you are actually looking for it. The main the main difference is just like the hair with the parting. It just goes back and forth. So like you just watching, you're not going to notice unless I tell you. Now that I told you, everything beyond everything from here, basically once I read the book onwards, was all like part 2 of the recording session. It's like when there are stunts of people for movies and we're slightly different versions of the actual costume. Exactly. The legs, and then I noticed. Yeah, no, but like again, he just wore a different attire for the day. He just wore something slightly different. He just had to change the clothes. But that's what I'm saying. Now, neat. Well, that's only if I forget the skin. If the skin's all of a sudden like you're like at one scene it's here and then the other scene it's just randomly something different and you're asking why, it's because we're at the halfway part, we're taking a pause and a break, go get like water or whatever you need to do, and then we're gonna come back and record the rest of the session. So that's what that was. I just need to remind myself for next time to not forget. But yeah, anyways, so that's that. That's pretty much the episode. I'm not going to go into full detail. If you want to watch everything, go like actually watch my POV because I'm very proud of this episode and I'm excited for next week, aka tomorrow. Yes, basically on screen for the skit. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, anyways, though, the 4 people I have suspicion that are vampires had me floored. I'm glad. I'm glad. But the 4 people I have suspicion that are vampired, and this is some in character and some out of character, right? So the 4 guesses, and don't tell me if I'm correct or not. Don't say if I'm right or not. I don't want to know if I am. I'm just saying from my perspective. No spoilers, chat, okay? No spoilers. Cuz realistically I do not know yet. But the 4 people I believe that are vampires are Scott, Owen, Pyro, and Shubble. Okay? And those are the 4. And there is a reason to my madness for this. There's valid reasoning to stuff, okay? And it starts back with this conversation of what Shubble said. So we know. So Shubble just says what I just called out right there. Themselves Pyro, Scott, Owen, Martin, Sausage, and a whole bunch of other people, right? We already know for sure that it can't be Martin or Sausage with the beacon stuff because they were in town already when the beacon got removed of its power. And we know that because Cleo confirms Martin and Sausage. And we then can confirm Appo because Appo's been with Martin and Sausage this entire episode. And the reason why I believe it's Shubble is because Shubble was with Pyro, Sausage, and Martin. Now, why do I feel those three are also vampires? Is because when I went into the woods with Pyro, where is it? This man the entire time did not have a torch in hand. And without a torch, it is so dark. You can't see anything. Unless you are a vampire and you have night vision on. No, because episode 1, Pyro had a torch in his offhand the entire time when it was me, Lagundo, Appo, and Pyro wandering around. That gives you night vision, though? Yes, but that was before all of this happened. This was super early on. Unless Pyro instantly mentioned something about night vision, Pyro just doesn't have a torch in his hand even when I meet him like here. Like if we go around to this, hold on, where is it? Even here, Pyro's like not holding a torch. And like most people aren't because it's light out here. But like not at one single point does Pyro have a torch at all in this. And I believe if like again I'm sort of metagaming outside of out of character, I believe the night vision isn't permanent. It's temporarily. It's like X amount of minutes for night vision. And so at a certain point, like I cut out a lot of us walking here. At a certain point, man doesn't mention about night vision or like being able to like see in the dark, whatnot. And so I feel it's Pyro, right? So I have this hunch. Now, why do I have a hunch for then Scott and Owen? Well, it's because Scott the entire time has been wearing the skull. And yes, he's mentioned that it's to scare Avid. Right? But it's also very sus of Scott eavesdropping in this form of manner. Like, it's very, very strange. It's just a fun hat that's... No, I get, like, he's mentioned that it is just a fun hat to scare Avid, but at the same time, what Avid's told me, and the weird things that have happened, from the conversation I have with Avid, and Avid basically being like, I don't feel right about Scott or whatever. Like, Clockworn, thank you for the follow. I welcome on in. It just weird hunch, weird vibe coming from Scott. So that's my hunch, right? Hello, I saw Wolf. And then afterwards, again, this is more meta gaming a little bit. This is just more of my interactions in like, you know, when you play enough with people, you kind of understand how their playstyle is. when we're all panicking, right? And we're all freaking out, and we're in this room. Owen sounds way too calm of going, did you guys feel that? Like almost in like it's I don't know, it sounds in the sense of the like sarcastic way of like when you're trying to scare someone or you know something's going on and that you go, "Oh, I'm scared, guys. Like what's going to happen?" Like it sound I don't know why, just in his tone of voice of this. Yeah, then also just Owen standing out there not like worrying about anything. It's just weird. It just gives like something feels off with this like conversation. And again, it might just be speculating, might just be hunches, but because of what Shovel said on how originally it was Shovel, Pyro, Owen, and Scott all fishing, and then Martin and Sausage came on by. And we can already kind of feel Pyro's a vampire from not just having a torch in his offhand. That means there was possibly at least one vampire fishing with them. And by the way, they were fishing, I believe, at night. Because it was daytime. Like, if they're coming back now saying that they were fishing, we went into the cave during night. So 4 of them went out to go fishing in the middle of the night. Which I get they bite better at night, so does Owen say. Yeah, early morning is early fishing time. Yeah, no, I get that, but it's just that doesn't work to Minecraft mechanics. That's just normal mechanics. Again, this is me talking out of character. This is all out of character stuff. But those are my suspicions and my hunches on who I think are just because the actions that they've done. Now, am I gonna do anything on that based as like in character? No, because there's no justifiable reasoning as to why in character. Would you consider if you were a fan? No, chef. Also, hello. Hunches have been noted. Yeah. So that's what I feel. We'll see what happens in episode 3 if I'm right or not. I don't know exactly who, but based off of every contingency person that it has, like from just this group alone, there's not this one. From this interaction here, there are 6 of us here, which then leaves Martin, Sausage, and Apo. But those 3 have been cleared basically by Cleo because they were here by the time the town was. And then Ren, I think, was on his own the entire time, basing off of just it could also possibly Ren, but after like this whole interaction of like Ren's speech, I feel like it's not Ren. Right? So that just leaves Scott, Owen, Pyro, Shovel. And I feel those 4, or at least 3 of them, 3 to 4 of them are vampires in some way. Based off a process of elimination where everyone was based off what everyone was saying. Now, am I right? Who knows? I don't want to know if I am or not. Don't spoil anything for me. But we will see. We will see. Right. Now, anyways though, time for a bit of just chill Minecraft while we talk more about vampires. Yeah, like overall the chat, what how have y'all been enjoying the SMP so far? Has it been fun for y'all? It's my favorite palace SMP. I'm glad. Honestly, I like. Sorry, I was drinking water. I fear I become incest. You know what? Fair. I've been enjoying it so much because like, look, I enjoy streaming, but I love doing YouTube videos more. What we talking about? We talked about vampires. Talked about my theories. I went on a whole speculation on who I think are vampires. And then I broke down my episode 2 a little bit. But now we're going to be playing some Minecraft. Tell me. So basically the short answer of things is based off of the conversations by the end of the episode, we can clear off of who consecrated or removed the divine protection from the castle beacon. We can clear that it wasn't me or Lagundo, Avatar Drift, Cleo and Pearl. We can also then clear Apo, Martin, and Sausage. That just leaves Ren, Pyro, Owen, Scott, and Shovel. I can then possibly clear Ren, because Ren, I think, has been building his house the entire time outside of town, but then also his little speech at the end of like the dark forces that had been broken by at the end of the episode felt like that. So that just leaves Shovel lives outside of town. Yeah, Ren made a little house outside of town. So that just leaves Shovel, Pyro, Scott, and Owen. Right. Now, I think it's those four because Shovel mentioned that all of them were fishing at one point in time. Blame the man can't be Shovel. But all of them were fishing at one point in time, which then led to so Shovel mentioning that, which was like, okay. But I already had a hunch that it could possibly be Scott, Pyro, and Owen, because earlier in that recording session, Pyro just didn't have a torch on him the entire time. When it was me and Pyro walking in the middle of the night, and I know in episode 1, Pyro had a torch in his offhand when it was dark, and so that's a little concerning. And I know there's the like book be able to get night vision, but I believe out of character it doesn't last forever. It's not a permanent night vision thing, so you have to actually proc it. And then I caught Scott snooping around, and Scott's just been wearing the skull head the entire time, which could just be Scott messing with Avid, but also at the same time, how long do you take a bit so far? Yeah, 5 minutes of the Tome Knife. Exactly, and we walked a lot longer than 5 minutes. Game's loud. Hold on. There you go. Like I said, I had to redo all my audio recording stuff, so it was weird. But because of that, let me. There you go. I could probably turn that a bit more. And then there's the like theory with Scott, and then that just leaves Owen. And this is more of just like, you know, again, out of character reasoning, when you play a game long enough with someone, you kind of learn their habits, right? And well, when the whole darkness pushes back thing happened, Owen's tone of voice sounded very much like in the sarcastic tone of like, did y'all feel that? That was strange. And it just, that whole conversation just did not feel right to me. Also, him just not having no armor or no upgraded tools and having no food this far into like the SMP, trying to push a narrative voice. In a sense, yeah. But it just didn't feel like as like any of us reacted to it, because all the humans freaked out. His tone was just a little bit more calm. Like, this has already happened before. And also just the playstyle of him not having any, like, tools or armor and having no food. This into the, in the sense, 4 hours of playtime that we've all had as players. And then my other thing outside of and this is like sort of both an in-character thing but an outside of character thing. At the very beginning of the episode, of my episode, I was making my farm. And Owen asked, "Oh, what farm am I making?" And then he's like, "Is it livestock?" Question, like asking, like, "Is it livestock, like pigs or whatever?" And I said, "No, I'm making a potato farm." His response to that was like, "Oh," or like in like a sad demeanor, like an upset moment. Which in my head, I'm like, if you're a human, you don't care what food you're getting. We're getting more food. We're getting potatoes. And so it's just like there is just interactions that I've had with just the tone of voice and the reaction to like my response to certain things that I'm just thinking something isn't adding up here. So like it's a bit both like in character but then also like out of character for certain players, but I think my hunch is Shovel, Pyro, Scott, and Owen. Maybe only Pyro, Scott, and Owen. Like Shovel could have been perfectly fine and didn't get and wasn't already turned beforehand. But at that point, it's still a little bit sus that the three people that I do suspect are vampires. Shovel mentioned being with those three and not being like weirded out by anything. Oh, it's so much funnier. It's like going back after stuff is revealed and you can just see the foreshadowing. Like, see, that's what I just feel like it. And it's like, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But as like an out of character thing, I'm not just going to go off my hunches and be like, hear ye, just like ring a bell in town and being like, these four I expect are vampires because of XYZ, and just have no reasoning to it without like visually seeing something happen between. Like, I'm like, my character is like not entirely skeptical to vampires, but at the same time I'm not just going to also, he's not really introverted. The reason why he just doesn't talk to anybody is because they're entirely strangers. He wasn't like going to Oakhurst to meet people. He was going there just to make a grave. He was going there to make a little grave, see what was up a little bit, and then leave. So like, trying to interact with all these people, it's like, I don't know any of you. Like, I'll be nice, I'll have conversation and be cordial, like what I was taught. Like, I'll have the proper etiquette that what I was raised and taught to have. Just like an introvert. Sort of. It's not so much introverted tendencies, because like when he wants to meet people, he will go up and just straight up talk to someone. It's just more like he's just wary. He's very cautious of his surroundings right now, especially where he's at. And so it's sort of like this moment of weird things have been happening. All this weird things started happening, especially with all of you around here. I've already dealt with enough traumatic stuff right now. I don't want to know what else has been happening, so I'm just going to leave. So he just stays to his own accord. Medium avert, basically, yeah. Like, I had this conversation with Apo, where we were just talking about vampires, and we didn't talk any, like, spoilers or anything. If he became a vampire. So here's the thing, right? I am playing both as my character and as myself. Right, so like I'm still playing the game as I would if I was just playing normal Minecraft. I told Apo this. If I get into a situation with a vampire, I'm swinging. I'm going to run, stop, realize I have gear, and then start fighting back. MJ DJ Soccer, thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. Like, there's things you know about my character that you know, but there's also things you don't know about my character. Lord Morcant taught him some stuff. I'll say that much. He knows how to defend himself. It's just the only reason why he's so, like, what's the word? Like, a little guy energy in the sense right now is because he's reliving. He has to deal with all the weird things and the PTSD of his parents dying. Like, that's the only thing right now. But if something was to happen and something just clicks in his brain, his entire, the entire shift will happen. And we all agree. No, like, Jin, like, I'm half joking. I'm going to carry around silver blocks in my pocket, in my inventory. Now, I will also preface this. I was also told before the SMP, I was not allowed to do things that would be game-breaking. I was told this as a thing to be fair to every other creator, because I am basically one of the only sweats on the server compared to everybody else. Right? So, like, for example, when I learned about silver blocks and I learned that they had a radius that is also through blocks, I personally asked the question as a joke, does silver blocks work through other blocks? And I got told yes. I'm like, cool. And then I followed up with that question, basically. So I'm guessing I'm not allowed to cover a silver block in obsidian and then lava cast that obsidian as well. And they said, yeah, no, you aren't allowed to do that. Because I know that would just break the game. Because then you're not getting to the silver block and you have to deal with lava. I'm sticking within the means of what I am allowed to do. I am sticking to this character that is little guy afraid of things at the moment. But if something was to happen and I needed to defend myself, I will defend myself both in character and in my playstyle of character. Difficult to break. I know that this silver is already difficult to break. Now imagine trying to get to while also trying to break through obsidian and also not trying to burn yourself with lava. You're not a vampire hunter. Nope. Like, I also didn't choose a vampire hunter just because I felt like everybody was, so my character doesn't, like, lean towards the vampire hunting side of things. To be one, so... yeah. So, like, again... I know what I am allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do. And it's to make sure, and this is why I prioritize the content play over just the gameplay, like, mechanics side of things, right? Because if I was strictly just only playing as myself, right, and I wasn't playing a character, I would be full, like, taking notes, writing down where everyone's been and what they've been doing, and playing this game like Among Us. Which wouldn't be fun, because by that point in time, I would just start calling out people where they've been, what they've been doing, and then being like, well, actually, this person was here, and it just wouldn't be an enjoyable time. Because there is this aspect of winning. But ultimately, I want to tell a good story. I think it's better to tell a good story than just straight up try to win. Like you're hunting them? I mean, they could, yeah. And then we get into the game of Among Us where it starts, where then you go ahead. I'll call out your bluff and see what happens type of moments. If it was just straight up like an SMP of trying to stay hidden. Me and the humans would just immediately go to the beacons and start setting people on fire, and while the vampires immediately try to slaughter everyone if the goal is to win versus to make content. Exactly. Because, like, at the vampire, like, the whole thing with the beacons is like, okay, cool. We want to win. All right, we're taking the beacon, we're covering it obsidian, or we're placing silver blocks all around these beacons, we're casing it in lava, and they're not getting to it whatsoever. Oh, the vampire castle? You're like... the base where, like, the vampire should be? Cool, I'm going over their one recording, and I'm placing just 64 blocks of silver everywhere on that base for you to deal with. So quickly. That was just exploration. It's just everyone went out to adventure. It was entirely by accident, like, no planning whatsoever. Like, and that's why the cast is amazing on this, is because we have this form of, like, playing to play the game, but also playing to have fun and tell a good story. Which has been great so far. Which has been super, super fun. The map seems so confusing. So, fun fact, I already have the map memorized. Like, it's... Must be glad I'm able. Wait. Yeah, Moonlight's just running. Yeah. Special tune then? I mean, So here's the thing, right? There is the tomb, and I know what tomb you're talking about. Um, where it kind of just shows you the direction of where the town is. So you'll never get lost, basically, which is a great thing. Um, but like, I just have a good memory of location. And so like even in episode 1, where Alexa's like, this is the same like crypt that we were just at. Like, no, that was over there. We technically need to go back around this mountain and go through this way if we actually want to get back to home this direction. Like, I've mapped out everything from where we left episode 1 in my head. I've then mapped out everything in episode 2 of where I went to find those other 2 tombs and where the castle is. And then there's everything else in between. So, like, I don't know everything perfectly, but I just know my general sense of direction. Even without using the path. Yeah, no, yeah, like... I can just, like, instantly oh, there's Shane. Oh, Shane went live literally just now. But yeah, so like I can use the past as a general idea, but like if we run somewhere, I kind of understand where everything's at now at this point. Like, I can understand that the obelisk is next to the tower, and the tower is farther to the left, and if you run from this way downwards, there's there. And then to the right of the obelisk, and you go upwards, there's that tower up very top part next to the castle. And then crossing the castle all the way up to like the main high point in the like decayed forest is like the top tower area. And then back downwards, wrapping around, you can then come back towards the main town area. Then if you go to the right of the town, there's like the Pirates SMP like crypt with the beacon in there, and there's like 2 tombs as well on that side. But that's like just like the general like layout of everything. It's like a big circle. All the main like obelisks are kind of or beacons are all in like a big circle around the town, or half circle, I should say. And then a bunch of scattered tombs in between. But yeah, so. Any questions though, chat, regarding like just in general about vampires or my POV that I can possibly answer, maybe, if you're wondering, if I have not answered anything already. Oh, also, let me turn the music back on. Nothing right now? Well, that's good. Yeah, we'll probably go for another 30 minutes talking about like just vampires and in general, and then afterwards, rest of the stream is gonna be me trying to fix my OBS. Chat. Okay, so hold on. Regarding the premise of it, yeah, basically. So, how POW does any of their SMPs is they ask the creator and they sort of present a like slideshow of what the overview is, what some of the ideas are for it, and so on and so forth. And then it's basically just like a presentation. Also, Cass, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. In a sense, like a presentation on what it is, and it'll send you a PDF file of this presentation and basically be like, hey, do you want to do XYZ? The vampires and absolutely you keep it. Thank you. I appreciate it. So that's how they have their also thank you for the follow, Rabbit. They showcase the premise to everybody with a starting amount of info. When being chosen during like how they choose vampires. I had the thought of being a vampire. I thought it would be fun doing a vampire. Also, Nitpick, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome on, everyone. 138. What's the fastest? 130. I see. But regarding like if I wanted to be a vampire, I had the thought of like what character would be fun to play as a vampire. But realistically, I was thinking about I'm like this character that I'm working on right now, just I think the audience, the viewers would really get attached to him. And then go from there. Cause we kind of like had ideas, like all the cast members were like in like the Discord were like thinking of ideas that we had, and we were kind of looking like, oh, that's cool. We felt like trying to overlap too much. And so both trauma or no. It would be different. It'd be very, very different. Probably not no trauma. Not really. But yeah, I never really fleshed it out if I was a vampire. So there's that one. Are we allowed to whisper to each other in chat? No. So this is the same as Cowboys. If you've seen Cowboy SMP, you're not allowed to like type anything out. You're not allowed to chat. You're not allowed to message unless it's something very, very important. And if it's like something revolving like game mechanics or whatever, you're just supposed to ping in the Discord. It's to keep the immersion of the feel of the only way you can actually communicate with somebody is through voice chat, being near someone. On a way, you can ask Itza, and I can tell you if I'm able to answer it or not. But yeah, we're not allowed to whisper just because it is a way to kind of just keep everyone's immersion of like not knowing when things are happening. Yeah. It's kept to the immersion. It's so nice because it makes like, for example, my stuff very, very narrative focused, where it's like I don't have to worry about removing chat or like things breaking or having like metagame knowledge. It's just there. Of the video, the sound of laughter children. Is that yeah, it's from Epidemic Sound. Yeah, any type of audio that I use, any type of music, it's all from Epidemic Sound. It is one of my, it's like the only main source of audio files, sound effects that I use. Because once you have a subscription to it and you're licensed and you connect your accounts to it, all that stuff there, it's fully free to use. Oh, there goes my teammate. There are people here. Oh, that's just someone behind me. That was a third party from Red. But yeah, chat. I learned recently though that Minecraft inputs take priority from 9 to 1. So like even though they're almost the exact same tick speed, if I like press 2, if I press my like my 2 slot and my 9 slot at the same time, it'll prioritize 9 over like anything from left onwards. So when you're doing like combos, I learned this from I watched a Marlowe video. If you don't know, Marlowe is considered the best PvPer in Minecraft at the moment. She's basically tier 1 in every like Minecraft PvP under the MC Tiers PvP channel. From them about time, yeah. But they made a video like a few days ago about explaining how like go to video. I saw that too. Yeah, it's really cool. But basically, if you're ever like needing to, for example, you're in a axe duel, right, or like axe duels with it, you can have your axe in your 2 slot, and then you can like do this where like you can kind of time it. I missed by the. All right, let me check real quick. Another question. Role selection, like you apply to a role and they probably get. You can play. So from what we've been told, and I think Owen explained, if you're talking about like who got picked as a vampire and who didn't. Well, that worked. Yeah, so sorry. Basically, the idea is whoever wanted to be a vampire got picked to be a vampire, but it was put in like a raffle sense, so they were on a wheel. And then the wheel spun, and whoever got picked got picked. So it wasn't necessarily just I want to know, can you actually do that in the server? Oh, yeah, it was entirely random. It wasn't like anyone just got picked. So there's an interesting bug. Oh, I am just, yeah. Yeah, I did not expect him to jump. There's a weird bug in Minecraft. Actually, I can show you all this. Where the vampires picked? From the beginning, I believe. Would know who the vampires are. Basically, yeah. There's a weird bug in Minecraft where what is it, maze? / enchant maze windburst 3. Huh? Yeah, it's a maze. Okay, cool. Yeah, like we knew about the series. Mine was like a month or so. Hold on. All right, so we know about the mace, right? When you fall, you have to like do that, and it has a quick charge time, right? There's a weird thing with the mace where if you time it right as you're falling, it does this weird little thing. I'm trying to see if I can get it right. There it is. See my sword, and switch. Yeah, it's a weird timing thing, but you can basically do the damage of the sword or of the mace, but have the charge time of a sword. So with a mace, how it has this super slow to recharge, you basically on the last tick you switch with your to your mace, and it does the mace damage, but it has the recharge time. And I think you can do that with axes. It's like a Attribute swapping, yeah. I learned about it recently, and I don't have the perfect timing down for it, but I think it works with axes and breaking shields, but at the same time, you can just break a shield with just spam clicking. So it's like... Yeah, it's weird with anything, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because I learned it with the maze, because the maze takes such a long time to do it. But it makes sense, because when you have, like crossbow in your inventory, you basically can shield, crossbow, flick back, go here, and it's like... Will bug fix it at some point? I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they do, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they don't. It's a very weird, like, thing. It's never, like, it's only used when you're doing kit-based PvP, realistically, so... Mace PvP, Axe kind of does it, but, like, again, you can just spam click the axe to break the shield, so you really don't need to worry about it. Alright, bye, Club. Thank you for stopping on by. But, like, it's primarily for, like, more combo-based things, so, like, Mace PvP is very heavy for it, Axe PvP is somewhat, but, like, again, you just need 1 and 2 for your axe and your sword. But yeah, like, and like maybe crystal PvP, but crystal PvP, it's more of just hot swapping back and forth, and that's more of just your placements of your inputs. Like, the only type of PvP that I like do regularly is just event PvP. I can do a bit of sword, I can do axe, but anything else outside of that, I've never tried. Everything has primarily just been event-based stuff. So it will be interesting. PvP, I just play on a single player most of the time. Yeah, which is fine. Like, oh, with Shane, that's funny. Don't know. Okay, you know what? How does that not, like, kill, realistically? Oh, we're just getting cleaned up on multiple sides. Hold on. You see. Bye for now. Alright, bye, Rebel. Awesome, thank you. Yeah, the downside with event PvP is, like, you can't really play for it. It's just constant third partying, which makes it extremely difficult. For trying to survive. That's not what I meant to do. That's what I was trying to grab. Vampires? Yeah. Oh, I got that last hit in, but server registration. But yeah, I believe there is a world border, but it's far enough out to where we just stay roughly within the like spawn area. Well, Laura, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome on in. You know. Like, I want to get better at PvP, but at the same time, most PvP isn't accurate to event PvP scene. Like, you can be accurate in, like, your hits, but, like, you really can't. Also, Tiki Goblin, thank you for the follow. And Aslo flows. You can't really just. Okay, well, here's my sword. You can't really just practice event PvP in like a standardized way. Like you can practice sword, and you can. I just misplaced my block. You can practice sword, you can practice axe, but like everything else you don't normally use, and you can't combo, and there's no shields in event, so like it really doesn't matter. For storytelling itself and encountering others, that makes it seem further out. I can tell you now there isn't. It's genuine. So like how usual server custom maps are is there is a custom map world placed somewhere in a random generated world. And then beyond that point, it's kind of blended in to go into normal Minecraft. And so there is just a cutoff point where it is just normal Minecraft. But for lore, yeah, it's a full expansive world. There's different cities and everything else, but realistically. Does your character think are real? Out of all of them, like he's under the idea that if XYZ is real, no. If like vampires are real, then that means void werewolves could possibly be real. And if at that point Bigfoot can then possibly be real. It kind of is like if one thing is real, what's saying the other things aren't real, right? So he wouldn't like straight up basically believe it, but at a certain point it kind of just does make sense. Oh, that's just dead. Oh, never mind. But yeah. Consider Bigfoot one guy or like a member. I mean, he probably either both at a certain point. Like, I don't know how he would consider it, because again, in character, he just thinks, I mean, maybe. Ratchet. I mean, it's more just not trying to get dropped on by people. Oh, did not mean to do that. Yeah, see, this is the thing with event PvP, is like, as long as you stay with a group, y'all can just run and just go after everyone that's by themselves, because you don't have the armor or the util to, like, win a 1v3 unless you have advantage, you have void that you can knock them into. It's extremely difficult just to win off of it just alone. Nice, teammate. Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. And see, that's what I mean. It was a 2v1, but if I can knock him into the void, you win easier. Against the man who invented it. Yeah. Alright, cool. With that being said, we've been streaming for 2 hours now at this point. I think at this point we're going to transition. For those that just joined, my audio's acting weird because you can't hear my browser audio, but you can hear everything else. And I don't know why. So we're gonna try. I'm gonna try to fix my audio live and see if that does anything. So I'm just gonna go somewhere. You know, I'm just gonna go tab open a rewind easier. It's not so much, well, I mean, telling you to make sure the VOD fixes itself. But I need to make sure stream is working correctly. So we're just gonna come over here. I'm gonna just stand on top of the castle. I then am gonna leave to go use the bathroom, but then I'll come back, and then we're gonna fix this, because I want to make sure this is fixed, so I don't have to worry about it again. Because for some reason, y'all can hear me even if I have the audio turned off, which should not happen. So, gonna do there. Gonna have be right back. Just there. Y'all can do what you need to do. Give me like a few minutes. I'm just gonna grab some water, and I'll be right back. All right. Hello, chat. Hello, hello. Allow me real quickly to just be like, fixing tech audio, just so stream knows, and then also fixing audio, just so whoever joins can understand what we are doing right now. 5 trains get 35% off, and Valorant gives up for every 5 gifted. Gives a bonus amount of subs. That's crazy. All right. So here's the thing, right, chat? I'm going to mute the different filters, if you will, or different connection points. And I want to see if you can hear it or not, so I can kind of understand where this is coming from, right? So if I mute this, can you still hear the music? Yes. If I mute this, can you still hear the music? Yes. All right. So Wavelink has nothing to do with it right now. It's entirely connecting to my OBS. For some unknown reason, it's only connecting to my OBS, not connecting to my Wavelink, which should connect to my OBS. Because that means if I turn this side up, do y'all hear? Is the music louder? Has not changed. All right, so it's literally just bypassing Wavelink entirely. Okay, wonderful. Okay, let me open up settings in OBS and see what I've done wrong. All right, so audio streaming is on 1. Twitch VOD is on 6. That's fine. Nothing in the audio stuff, nothing in there. I need to pull audio. So desktop audio is that. Chat, is my mic, if I mute my mic, can you still hear like, I'm gonna be talking right now. If y'all can I'm like, after I finish this little like bit, I'm gonna be talking. If y'all can hear me when I start talking after I mute, all right, so I'm gonna say mute and then I'm gonna keep talking. If you cannot hear me after I say mute, then let me know. Mute. Wonderful, awesome, amazing. So my mic is still fine. It's just whatever reason for Wavelink, it just does not want to connect. So let me see why. I have like 3 different tabs pulled up right now. We're gonna go through this all together. Let's see. Add stream mix to OBS. Awesome. In the sidebar, or open OBS Studios. Okay, I can do that. I can do that. Thank you, Wavelink, for actually making a form on how to do this properly. Y'all are great. Y'all are wonderful. Thank you, Elgato. I don't think it's Elgato. No, it is Elgato. Okay. So open up settings. Open up, right click on the little control box. Go to settings. Done that. Okay. Sidebar audio. Click mic auxiliary audio. And set that to wavelength stream. Click OK on a plot. Okay. Okay. Wavelengths are now. All right. It was that I just forgot to do that step. Let's find out, chat. If I mute this music, can y'all hear it still? Yes, you can hear it? Okay, so it's not that. is now added OBS to keep the OBS levels. Oh, the audio level. So it's running through. Why? So what's causing it to run through OBS and not? If I just disable that. Okay, chat. I'm gonna end stream. I'm going to start stream, and we're just gonna do a little test stream. I'm gonna delete the stream afterwards, but just quickly, I'm just gonna end stream, stop it, and see if I need to like redo it, like reset stream entirely, just to be safe.